Okay, so I just have to say, isn't this awesome? Yes, this is awesome. So first of all, I want to start by saying thank you. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just being nice well, that wouldn't be bad, but I want to say thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable enough to be here, to join together, to walk on this amazing journey of faith. Because I am absolutely convinced, my friends, we don't do this thing that we call life alone. And I believe we don't do faith alone either. If you doubt what I'm saying, think about this. You know what the lottery's up to right now? $1 billion. A little bit over $1 billion. I don't think anybody won it last night. A little bit over $1 billion. Can you imagine if you won the lottery and you could absolutely not tell anyone? Wouldn't that be a bum, right? Or imagine the biggest joy you can ever picture in your life and not being able to share that with anyone in the world. That would actually be torture. And I really think that's what this whole thing is about for us. We are spiritual beings and we're social beings. And that's what we do. We gather to celebrate with one another. We gather to share our joy and our sorrows. And we gather together to celebrate and to honor the God who created us. So thank you for taking the chance to be here. So this is Palm Sunday, right? This is the day, and Cassie even started off the day. This is the day that I used to tickle my brothers and sisters with this little thing and torture them, right? And we would do that to each other, and the day that I most often got taken out of church for misbehaving. But this is also the day that I think there is one of the biggest and the greatest lessons of the gospel on human life. And it's so easy to miss it. You see, my friends, I don't believe this is the day about Jesus riding into Jerusalem on the donkey and the joy of those who were gathered there to celebrate the annual feast of Passover. Sure, that's the story we just heard. But I don't think that's what Jesus is trying to teach us today. And I hope that's not the story that we carry out those doors when we leave today. What I really hope is that we remember this, that just like Jesus, if this world is going to be transformed, that just like Jesus, if we are going to be transformed, if we are going to rise again like Jesus did, then there is only one way to do it. And we must do what Jesus did. Ride directly into our own darkness and confront it and wrestle with it and fight with it and take it all the way to the cross so that when the stone is rolled back, the darkness is vanished by the light that shines in. You see, it's easy to think that this is a story that happened some 2,000 years ago to a dude named Jesus. And yes, that's true, it is. But it's our story as well. It's every one of our stories. Every time that one of us stands face to face with our greatest fear, and we look it in the eye, and we acknowledge then and there for ourselves that those fears are truly figments of our imaginations or traumas of our past, we are living this story. It's our story every time a person whom we love finally reaches out and says the hardest words that we can ever speak in the human language, help. It's our story when we stand at our first recovery meeting and we say out loud to ourselves and to someone else or to others who are gathered, "Hi, my name's Marty and I'm an alcoholic and an addict." It's our story, my friends, when the doctor walks in the door and you can just tell by the look on their face what's going to be said is going to change our lives forever. This story of Palm Sunday is our story when we come face to face with evil in our world and we say, enough. I will tolerate it no more. It's our story when disease takes the very last breath from someone we love, and we stand in that utter rawness and pain, and we cry out, why? Why? You see, my friends, this story of Palm Sunday is the story of Alexei Navalny, who on January 17th of 2021, when by his own choice he went directly back to Russia and faced the injustices of that Russian dictatorship, and ultimately, like Jesus, paid for his willingness to stand against injustices and human rights abuses with his own life, just like Jesus did. This is the story of Rosa Parks, who said, "No, I will not move. I have a right to sit in this seat as you do." It's the story of Ruby Bridges, the first black child to integrate into an all-white elementary school in New Orleans on November 14th in 1960, who spent the entire year alone in her classroom with that teacher at the age of 6. Because no white parent would let their other child attend class with her. That's the story of Palm Sunday. That's the story of today. And it happens all the time. It happens every time that the human race stands up against fear and injustice and racism and sexism and every other ism of our day. We're doing what Jesus taught us to do by that triumphant entry into Jerusalem that we celebrate. We are riding directly into our own Jerusalems, and we're about to engage on a tremendous struggle for freedom, just like Jesus did. It's going to be an arduous journey, and it's going to be scary, and it's going to take our blood and our sweat and our tears, just like it did Jesus, and it will walk us through this entire Holy Week. It will end, my friends, in the joy of the resurrection, and the one thing that Jesus taught us most of all, God will be with us. God's going to be with us in the misery and in the trial. The blank page in your worship aid, if you open that up, you see that? It's not a mistake. Some people think it might be. Even Ingrid said to me yesterday, "It's a blank page." I said, I know. That blank page is an invitation to each and every one of you. It's an invitation to take some time today or this week and think about the one fear in your lives that you're willing to face, or one element of darkness in our lives that we're willing to shed some light on. One Jerusalem that you and I might be willing to walk into or ride into in a donkey and write it on that page. And as this Holy Week unfolds, then we can let the healing light of God's love, of God's grace and mercy, and the unending hope of eternal life, let that roll back the stones and lift us up. Our faith, my friends, contrary to popular belief and contrary to much what we understand, our faith doesn't culminate in the trauma of the cross. It doesn't culminate in the trauma of the cross. It culminates in the joy and the hope and the glory of resurrection, right?